Germany's Bundesbank has warned that the country's economy has broadly lost competitiveness in global markets. In a report, it added that German export market shares have declined since 2017 and have grown particularly weakly in international comparison since 2021, which has significantly contributed to the crisis in the German economy. Bundesbank, however, highlighted that Trump is not responsible for Germany's export decline. French President Emmanuel Macron has announced a plan to push forward the country's defense spending, pledging to double the military budget by 2027 in response to a complex geopolitical moment.
Le budget des armées en 2017 était de 32 milliards d'euros. S'ajoutera à la loi de programmation militaire actuelle un effort de 3,5 milliards d'euros en 2026 et de 3 milliards d'euros supplémentaires l'année suivante. Nous consacrerons donc 64 milliards d'euros pour notre défense en 2027. C'est le double du budget dont les armées disposaient en 2017. En tout état de cause, nous refusons que ce réarmement passe par l'endettement. Notre indépendance militaire est indissociable de notre indépendance financière. Il sera donc financé par plus d'activités et plus de production. Et au fond, soyons simples. Pour être libre dans ce monde, il faut être craint. Pour être craint, il faut être puissant. La nation, pour cela, doit être plus forte, car c'est à la nation avant tout de défendre la nation.
Moving on to Asia, Deputy Director of China's General Administration of Customs, Wang Lingjuan, has stated that China and the European Union have seen robust growth in trade and deeper economic cooperation over the past 5 decades. He noted that trade data shows increasing integration of supply and industrial chains between the two sides, reaching 2.82 trillion yuan, a year-on-year increase of 3.5%. Meanwhile, daily trade exceeded 15 billion yuan. Wang added that in the first half of the year, the European Union accounted for 12.9% of China's total foreign trade value. Wang also emphasized that cooperation potential between China and the EU remains high, particularly in connectivity and green development. The People's Bank of China has reported that it issued 12.92 trillion yuan in new yuan-denominated loans in the first half of the year. The bank noted that by the end of June, the balance of various types of Chinese yuan loans extended by financial institutions stood at 268.56 trillion yuan, up 7.1% year-on-year. In the first half of 2025, the balance of various types of Chinese yuan loans increased by 12.92 trillion yuan, indicating that the financial system maintained a high level of credit support for the real economy. The bank's report also pointed out that in the first 6 months, household loans increased by 1.17 trillion yuan, of which short-term loans decreased by 300 million yuan and medium-long-term loans increased by 1.17 trillion yuan. The General Administration of Customs has revealed that China's total goods imports and exports in yuan-denominated terms rose 2.9% during the first half of 2025 on an annual basis to 21.79 trillion yuan. Data also revealed that China's trade in goods registered 21.79 trillion yuan in the first 6 months of the year, marking an annual increase of 2.9%. Exports also rose 7.2% to 13 trillion, while imports fell 2.7% to 8.79 trillion. However, the country's exports and imports in the second quarter went up by 4.5% year-on-year, 3.2 percentage points faster than the first quarter, maintaining growth for 7 consecutive quarters. The Ministry of Public Security has reported that China registered a record 5.622 million new energy vehicles in the first half of 2025, a 27.86% year-on-year increase. NEV registrations accounted for 44.97% of all new automobile registrations in the 6-month period. By the end of June 2025, the total ownership of motor vehicles nationwide reached 460 million units, with NEV ownership reaching 36.89 million units, accounting for 10.27% of the nation's overall automobile fleet. From January to June, battery electric vehicles remained the dominant force in China's NEV market, totaling nearly 25.54 million units and accounting for 69.23% of all new energy vehicles. Singapore's government data has revealed that the economy grew a faster than expected 4.3% in the second quarter year-on-year, despite a dimming outlook due to global economic uncertainty. On a quarter-on-quarter seasonally adjusted basis, gross domestic product grew 1.4% in the April to June period. The Ministry of Statistics has reported that India's annual retail inflation hit a more than 6-year low of 2.1% in June, down from 2.82% in May. This figure, the lowest since January 2019, strengthens the case for further interest rate cuts. The decline was driven by cooling food prices, with food inflation turning negative in June, with negative 0.92% in rural areas and negative 1.22% in urban areas. Overall inflation also eased, settling at 1.72% in rural regions and 2.56% in cities. The Reserve Bank of India maintains an inflation target of 2% to 6%. India's wholesale price index also turned negative in June at negative 0.13%, its first negative reading in 2025. In Australia, New Zealand Education Minister Erica Stanford has revealed that the country's plan to double its national education market by 2034 through offering incentives that include relaxing rules around foreign students working part-time while studying. She stated that with international student enrollment steadily increasing since 2023, the government wants to supercharge the growth track to reach 7.2 billion New Zealand dollars by 2034. Stanford added that in the short term, Education New Zealand will focus its promotional efforts on markets with the highest potential for growth. Bitcoin has surpassed $120,000 for the first time, marking a milestone for the world's largest cryptocurrency as investors bet on long-sought policy wins for the industry this week. Bitcoin scaled a record high of $123,153.22 before pulling back slightly to trade at 2.4% higher, around $122,000. Ether, the second largest token, scaled a more than 5-month peak of $3,059.6, while XRP and Solana gained about 3% each. CoinMarketCap data revealed that the sector's total market value has swelled to about $3.81 trillion. The U.S. House of Representatives is set to pass a series of crypto-related bills in a week. The most notable is a bill that would establish a regulatory framework for stable coins and is likely to advance to President Donald Trump's desk. In U.S. pre-market trading, shares of crypto exchange Coinbase surged 1.7%, while Bitcoin holder Strategy climbed 3.3%. Crypto miner Mara Holdings jumped 4.6%. Hong Kong's listed spot Bitcoin ETFs launched by China AMC, Harvest and Bozera all hit record highs.